I stood there, champagne in hand, when I felt the fabric tear. My mother-in-law's nails dragged down my back, ripping my dress wide open in front of 300 guests. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was watching my husband's face and realizing he'd known this was coming. Before I tell you how this wedding became my worst nightmare, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you'll want to hear every twisted detail of what happened next. And stay until the end because the revenge, oh, it was worth the wait. Let me take you back to the beginning. 5 years ago, I married the man I thought was my soulmate. I'm a corporate lawyer, worked my way up from nothing, and I was proud of everything I'd built. When I met Jay at a work conference, it felt like fate. He was charming, supportive, and for the first year, everything was perfect. Then I met his mother, Diane. That's what I'll call her. From the very first dinner at her house, I knew she hated me. It wasn't loud or obvious at first. It was the way she'd pause just a little too long when I spoke, like she was translating my words into something she could barely understand. It was the way she'd touch my hair without permission and say things like, "Oh, it's so interesting." It was the compliments that weren't really compliments. "You speak so well. You're pretty," for she never finished that sentence, but we both knew what she meant. My husband would tell me I was being sensitive. "That's just how Mom is." He'd say, "She's old-fashioned. She doesn't mean anything by it." But I knew better. I knew exactly what she meant. She meant that I wasn't good enough for her son. She meant that I didn't belong in her family. And she meant that she would never ever accept me. For 5 years, I dealt with it. The passive-aggressive comments, the exclusion from family events, the time she gave everyone at Christmas beautiful, thoughtful gifts and handed me a gas station gift card. The time she introduced me to her friends as Jay's, well, his wife, like the word tasted bitter in her mouth. I dealt with it because I loved my husband, and I kept hoping that one day she'd see me for who I really was. Then his sister got engaged. Lisa was 26, sweet, and completely under her mother's control. When she announced her engagement to Ben, Diane went into full wedding planning mode. This was going to be the event of the year, the perfect wedding for her perfect daughter. And I knew deep in my gut that I was going to be a problem. The wedding planning started 10 months before the big day. And from the beginning, I was shut out. Bridal shower planning, we've got it covered. Bachelorette party, maybe you're too busy with work. Dress shopping, this is for the bridesmaids. And you're not really a bridesmaid, are you? You're just family by marriage. Every single event, I was either excluded or made to feel like an unwelcome guest in my own family. My husband made excuses. Mom just wants to bond with Lisa. It's a stressful time for her. Can't you just try a little harder to get along with her? And that last one, that one hurt the most because I had been trying for 5 years. I had smiled through her insults, ignored her digs, and bent over backward to be the perfect daughter-in-law. And it was never enough. But here's what I didn't realize at the time. Diane wasn't just a difficult mother-in-law. She was jealous. See, Diane came from nothing. She'd worked 3 jobs to raise her kids after her husband died, and she was proud of that struggle. But when I came along, educated, successful, confident, I represented everything she wasn't. And worse, I was everything she'd wanted to be. People noticed me. They complimented me. They asked my opinion on things. And Diane couldn't stand it. I started noticing it more as the wedding got closer. At family dinners, when someone would compliment my career or my dress, or even just my smile, Diane's face would twist. Her jaw would clench. Her eyes would narrow. She'd find a way to redirect the conversation back to Lisa, back to the wedding, back to anything that wasn't me. And if she couldn't redirect it, she'd make a comment. "Well, some people are just naturally showy, aren't they?" Or, I always taught my children that humility is a virtue. The week before the wedding was torture. At the rehearsal dinner, she seated me at a table with the children, actual children, 8-year-olds, while the rest of the family sat at the main table. During her toast, She made a pointed comment about family values and people who know where they come from while staring directly at me. My husband said nothing. He just squeezed my hand under the table like that was supposed to make it better. The day before the wedding, Diane accidentally spilled red wine all over the dress I'd planned to wear. Oops. Butterfingers. Guess you'll need to find something else. She didn't even pretend to be sorry. She just smiled that cold smile and walked away. Then the morning of the wedding, a box arrived at my door. Inside was a dress, champagne-colored, elegant, expensive-looking. The note said, "For my daughter's special day. Wear this. Let's have no drama." My first instinct was to throw it in the trash. But then Lisa called me crying. "Please, just wear it. Mom's trying. She really is. And it's so beautiful. Please, for me." My husband pressured me, too. "It's one day. Just wear the dress. Make Mom happy for Lisa's sake." Even my own mother called and said, "Baby, I don't trust this." But I ignored my gut. I wanted so badly to believe that maybe finally Diane was extending an olive branch. Maybe this was the moment everything would change. I got ready at the hotel that morning. When I put the dress on, I have to admit, it was stunning. It fit perfectly, hugged every curve, and the champagne color looked beautiful against my skin. The other bridesmaids gasped when they saw me. "You look like a movie star." One of them said. For a moment, I felt hopeful. Maybe this wedding would be different. Maybe Diane really was trying. The ceremony was beautiful. Lisa looked radiant. Ben looked nervous and happy, and for those 30 minutes everything felt normal. But I noticed Diane watching me. Not watching her daughter walk down the aisle. Not watching the vows. Watching me. Her eyes followed me during the entire ceremony. And there was something in her expression I couldn't quite read. Something dark. During the family photos, the photographer kept turning to me. "Can you move to the center? The light is hitting you perfectly. Wow, you look amazing. Have you modeled before?" Each compliment made Diane smile tighter, her jaw clenched harder. And when the wedding coordinator asked me for advice on the reception timeline because she'd seen me organizing things earlier, Diane snapped, "I'm the mother of the bride. If anyone's giving advice, it's me." The reception started and I tried to just blend in. I smiled. I mingled. I complimented the decorations, but everywhere I went, people stopped me. "That dress is gorgeous. Are you a friend of the bride? You should be in magazines." I wasn't trying to get attention. I was just existing. But to Diane, who was watching from across the room with a drink in her hand, every compliment I received was a personal attack. I didn't even notice when she started following me. I'd stepped out onto the terrace to get some air. It was a beautiful evening, and I was actually happy. I had a glass of champagne in my hand and I was thinking that maybe, just maybe, I'd been wrong about everything. Maybe this family could work. Then I heard her voice behind me. "You really think you're something, don't you?" I turned around and Diane was standing there with her sister, my husband's aunt. Both of them had that look. That look that told me whatever was about to happen. They'd planned it together. "Excuse me," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "This is my daughter's day," Diane hissed. "Not yours. But you just had to show up looking like that, didn't you? Had to make sure all eyes were on you." I was confused. "Diane, you gave me this dress. You told me to wear it." She stepped closer and I could smell the alcohol on her breath. "And you should have known better than to wear it." I tried to walk away. I tried to just remove myself from the situation. But when I turned, she grabbed my shoulder. Her nails dug into my skin and I turned back to remove her hand. That's when she did it. She dug her nails in deep and ripped downward with all her strength. I felt the fabric tear, heard the sound of it splitting, and suddenly air was hitting my bare back. The dress tore from my shoulder blade all the way down to my waist. The fabric shredded completely, cheaply, like it was designed to fall apart. And I was standing there exposed with my bra visible and 300 people starting to turn and stare. Diane screamed, actually screamed. "Oh my God, what did you do to your dress?" I stood there frozen, trying to hold the torn fabric together. People were rushing over, phones were coming out, and Diane was putting on the performance of her life. "She attacked me," she cried, stumbling into her sister's arms. "I just touched her arm and she went crazy. Look what she did to her dress. She's been drinking all night." I hadn't even finished my first glass of champagne. Her sister backed her up immediately. I saw it. She grabbed Diane and just lost it. "I think she's drunk." The wedding coordinator rushed over with a tablecloth, wrapping it around me while I stood there, humiliated, exposed, and completely unable to speak. Lisa was crying. The guests were whispering and taking photos. And then I saw my husband pushing through the crowd. Relief flooded through me. Finally, he would defend me. He would tell everyone what his mother was really like. He would stand by my side. He looked at the scene. He looked at his mother sobbing in his aunt's arms. He looked at me wrapped in a tablecloth, mascara running down my face. And then he said the words that ended our marriage. "What did you do to my mother?" My heart stopped. I reached for him. "Baby, she ripped my dress. She planned this. He pulled away from me. Actually pulled away. She's elderly. Did you hurt her?" "Jay, please. You have to believe me." "You're drunk," he said, disgusted clear in his voice. "You're making a scene at my sister's wedding. Just go home. Just go home." I stood there staring at the man I'd married and realized I'd never really known him at all. Diane was watching me with this little smile on her face. Victorious. Triumphant. She'd won. I left the reception in a borrowed coat, got an Uber, and went home in complete shock. I sat in our empty house, still wearing the torn dress under the coat, and that's when everything clicked into place. The dress had cost $45, not $600. The fabric was cheap and deliberately weakened. Diane had planned this for months. She timed it perfectly, got witnesses lined up, and set it up to look like I'd attacked her. And my husband, he'd let it happen. The next morning, I woke up to my phone exploding. Photos were everywhere. Social media was on fire. Wedding drama, crazy wife, jealous sister-in-law ruins wedding. Diane's version of the story had gone viral. My professional colleagues were seeing it. My boss called. My friends were sending screenshots. My reputation was being destroyed in real time. And there was nothing I could do to stop it. My husband came home the next evening. He'd stayed at his mother's house. When I demanded answers, he was cold. "Mom is devastated. Lisa's wedding is ruined because of you. She ripped my dress. She gave me that dress specifically to humiliate me. That dress cost $600. Why would she ruin it?" And that's when I said it. "You knew." The silence in that room was deafening. "You knew something was going to happen, didn't you?" He couldn't look at me. Finally, he admitted it. "Mom mentioned she was upset you'd outshine Lisa. I saw some texts between her and Aunt Pat about teaching you a lesson, but I thought she'd just make a comment or something. I didn't think it would be that bad. You knew and you said nothing. You let me walk into that. She's my mother." He shouted. "She raised me alone after Dad died. She's just protective of Lisa. If you just tried harder to fit in, been less flashy." There it was. He blamed me. I left that night and went to my mother's house. And then I got to work. I found the receipt for the dress, $45 from a cheap online store. I found the text messages on his iPad where Diane told her sister got the dress. Seamstress weakened all the seams. She'll look like a fool. I found his response. "Just don't make it too obvious." Mom, he knew he'd approved it. He'd helped her. I took that dress to a fabric expert who confirmed it had been sabotaged. I contacted the wedding photographer who admitted she'd seen Diane grab me. Deliberately, But the bride's mother paid me, so I paid her double for the photos. I found 2 guests who'd witnessed everything, and one had even recorded video on their phone. Then I filed a lawsuit, civil suit against Diane for assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress and defamation. I served the papers with a police escort. Jen's face when she opened that door was worth everything. "You can't sue me. I'm family." "Not anymore," I said. The story hit the local news. When the evidence went public, the video, the text messages, the expert testimony, public opinion shifted overnight. Suddenly, I wasn't the crazy wife. I was the victim of a calculated, cruel attack. Lisa called me crying. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know what Mom planned." She testified for me in court. 2 of my husband's cousins came forward with their own stories about Jen's cruelty. The family fractured down the middle. I also filed for divorce. 5 years of emotional abuse by proxy. I had evidence of his complicity, his texts, his pattern of choosing his mother over me. I got the house, half his retirement, and spousal support. When he tried to reconcile, I just said, "You watched your mother destroy me and did nothing. Actually, you did something. You helped her." The court case was straightforward. The evidence was overwhelming. Diane tried to play the elderly victim, but the judge wasn't buying it. Verdict: $75,000 in damages, plus legal fees, plus a public apology, plus a restraining order. That was a year ago. Now, I've moved to a new city. I got a major promotion at my law firm. I'm thriving, happy, and completely free. I'm even dating someone new, someone who actually stands up for me. Imagine that. Last month, I ran into Lisa at a professional event. She'd cut contact with Diane entirely. I saw who she really is. Lisa told me, "My marriage almost didn't survive what she did, but I'm glad I know now." Just last week, I got a message from my ex-husband's cousin. "Diane's life has completely fallen apart. Lisa won't speak to her. My ex barely calls. Everyone in her community knows her as that crazy wedding lady. She tried to move, but the story follows her online. Even her sister stopped talking to her. Diane is alone. And me, I don't hate her. I actually pity her. She destroyed her own family because she couldn't handle her jealousy. She lost her daughter, her son, her reputation, and her peace of mind. All because she saw me as a threat instead of his family. Here's what I want you to understand. She wanted to break me. She wanted to humiliate me so badly that I disappear from her family forever. Instead, she freed me. She showed me exactly who my husband was. She forced me to value myself enough to walk away. That dress she ripped, it tore away every illusion I had about my marriage, about that family, about what I deserved. And on the other side of that horrible night, I found myself. Stronger, richer, happier. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually the best thing in disguise. Can you believe that? 5 years of marriage destroyed by a jealous mother-in-law at her own daughter's wedding. But here's what I learned. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. If you've ever dealt with a toxic mother-in-law or been betrayed by someone who was supposed to protect you, drop a comment below. You're not alone. And if you want to hear what happened when Diane showed up at my new job begging for forgiveness 6 months later, let me know and I'll tell that story next. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next.